Let me tell a tale of a world where heroes walk among us, fighting through the darkness left by monsters and by selfish men. A tale of glory rent asunder, sacrifice and battles lost. Our heroes know not what awaits them, and still they carry on. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Pixel, and we are Ages of Ainur, and welcome to the 7th episode of Ages of Ainur Presents the Regent of Bedegar. What's up, everybody? We are back once again with our bevy of Bedegarian adventurers, and we are super excited to continue our little adventure. I will be your dungeon master this evening, and before we get into the game, as usual, we're going to go over our typical housekeeping things. So, first things first, folks in chat, when you're looking at maps on my screen, just know that's the DM stuff. So don't spoil anything. You'll see things that are like shaded out or kind of semi-transparent or grayed out, stuff like that. Usually what that means is the players can't see whatever that is, so don't talk about it. Oh, I wonder if they're going to notice the shibboleth in the other corner, whatever it is, right? Because they don't know that's there yet, and they'll be hanging out and chat with you guys, so they may see that stuff, and we don't want to ruin their fun being surprised by all the horrible things I'm going to throw at them. Secondly, please remember that D&D is a complex game with a whole lot of rules where we're also improvising a story together as a group. So I may change stuff in the rules, I may forget stuff, whatever. If you know a ruling and we're trying to remember how grappling works or something, feel free to put that in chat. But, if the moment passes, don't lose your mind about it. We'll try and get it right next time.
It's always grappling. It's always the grappling.
Often grappling and restrained, and the fact that they're similar and different. It's kind of like how paladins and smites. Anyway, I could go on. Thirdly, we want to keep this space as open and welcoming as we can to the extent that that is possible on the internet. So we do try to keep that internet toxicity to a minimum. So we don't put up with anyone being abusive or hateful in chat, whether that's to other viewers or to players on stream regarding anything like their character choices, their knowledge of the game or the rules. Their ability to yank their phone off their desk by accident, or anything else about them as people. Usually not ever a problem with you guys, but we do like to always say that just in case anyone wants to ever fucking test us. Don't. Just a reminder as well, we do release the show on YouTube and our podcast after each episode during the following week. So if you miss an episode or part of the episode, don't fret, you can still catch it after the fact. You can be caught up if you want to catch us live. And of course, the last thing before we get started, folks, we are going to go around and cast. If you would please introduce yourselves and your characters and remind us if you have chat inspiration before we begin, starting, of course, with Bonus Mom.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Bonus Mom, and tonight I will be playing Bedegar, the Tabaxi Rogue. Or, well, some people call us cat people, but we never say cat because it is a very ugly word. And, well, yes, I do have chat inspiration, and I thank you all so very much and appreciate all your support.
I also do apologize to everybody. We talked about this during last week's Curse of Strahd. I'm going to try to figure out a way to show on screen who has inspiration and who doesn't, and maybe come up with either clever ways for the players to be able to control that or something. I'm not really sure. I'm going to try and figure that out, but in the meantime, we'll just have to all remember. Moving on, let's go up top, and Kyla.
Hey pals, I'm Kyla, and I am playing Chanterelle, who's our Water Genasi Druid and Bard, and I'm super happy to be here playing D&D with my pals. Thanks for hanging out.
Huzzah. And do you have chat inspiration?
Nope, sorry, forgotten. I do not.
Okay, and of course, Taylor.
Hi friends, I'm Taylor and I play Enna. I'm so happy to be back. I was sad to miss last time, but life be lifing sometimes. But I'm happy to be back and excited. I do not have any chat inspiration right now.
Alrighty, and Jesse?
Life be lifing is correct. I'm Jesse. I will be Silas, the blade singing wizard. Happy to be back after last week, where I seismic tossed a giant into the ground. That was one of the best things I've done in this game. So I am inspired by chat, but happy to be inspired again. So hit me when you can. Thanks.
Excellent. And of course, Beast.
Hi, everyone. I'm Beast. I play Hiskers, the Tabaxi Valor Bard. I do not have chat inspiration, so you guys have been slacking, and you need to step it up.
And eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed that we are shorter player again this week, although it is a different player. Daniel is not able to be with us today, so he hopefully will be back for the next episode, and we will carry on. So Solomon is going to sort of be taking a bit of a back seat this episode, but that is okay. We will do our best to carry on regardless. And of course, as always, I am your GM, Pixel. And
we have an announcement, I believe.
I'm sorry, Pixel. I was trying to catch your eye. If I remember correctly, you gave us all inspiration last time, and we were to remind Anna of that in case she did not have DM inspiration.
Sure. I believe it. As soon as
it's so rare these days, so precious a commodity.
Well, I wrote it down, so everybody should have chat inspiration.
No, everyone should have DM inspiration.
Yeah, everyone should have DM inspiration. Yeah. Sorry,
everyone should have chat inspiration. Chat.
Anyway, getting back on track. My name is Pixel. I'll be your GM for this evening. You can find me here on Ages of Ainur. Every other Friday, I GM this game, and then alternate Fridays, I GM our Curse of Strahd game with our good buddy Vincent Page, who's another Twitch streamer and bandmate of mine. And that's a ton of fun. We have a lot of fun in that game as well. But here you are watching this one, so we're very excited for that. You can also find me here on Twitch at twitch.tv/hammerandpixel, where I stream video games and other stuff. And also, in another brief announcement, is next week on Tuesday the 28th, we will be doing a tutorial stream for folks to learn how to make characters for a sci-fi tabletop game called Stars Without Number. It is loosely related to D&D in terms of its mechanics. Not like it's compatible or anything, but if you play D&D, you know enough about how this game works to have a rough sense of it. But given all the stuff that happened with the OGL a few months ago, I made a personal commitment to try to teach people some other games and start running them. And so we are working diligently on that. And so character creation, just as a tutorial so people can learn how to do it, is Tuesday. Eventually, when this campaign wraps up, I'd love to run a short campaign in that system, maybe 6 to 8 episodes, something pretty quick, to give people an actual play to watch. But once we're done with character creation, we'll spend a couple weeks doing a tutorial battle or two and a spaceship battle, that kind of things, just to show folks, a bit of the mechanics of that system and see if it's something that interests them. So be on the lookout for that. That will be happening on this channel and not over on my other one. So all of that having been said, and without further ado, when last we left our heroes, in their quest to prepare for the inevitable battle to come against the forces of Lord Saxton, the usurper, our heroes have set their noble court at Castle Rend to gathering troops from neighboring realms and sabotaging Lord Saxton's own preparations. They have secured aid from the Clock, a thieves' guild in Bedegar Keep. They've secured aid from Lord Kenway of Dalrath, the barony to the north, and the White Tusk Orcs, with whom they had an uneasy alliance previously, before Silas had been elevated to Count of Rend, and they had all pledged to support Edmund Bedegar in his attempt to unseat Lord Saxton and retake his rightful place as the Baron of Bedegar. Following their victory over the foul necromancer Caliga Lifebane a week ago, our heroes set their organization to shoring up their defenses by raising their resources to better supply their troops for the battle ahead. And they also set out their own course to parley with the Elgin Whites based on information they had received from Twilight, a young night elf woman whom they had freed from Bedegar prison when they helped the leader of the Clock, Zola Honeycutt, escape several weeks back. Upon reaching the Goal Stone near the Forest of Rend, our heroes discovered a curious druid there. A stately, older elven man was meditating at the ancient ruin. However, his presence caused the party druid, Shanty, quite a bit of distress. Through a long, intense conversation, it was revealed that the druid, formerly Shanty's mentor, was involved in a traumatic series of events that led to Shanty being separated from her mother, and spending quite a bit of time aboard a ship full of pirates. Celebane, the druid, revealed that he believed Shanti to have been dead following those events, but that rather than having betrayed her mother and gotten her killed, he revealed that her mother was actually her adoptive mother, and that she was using young Shanti's druidic power for her own gain, and that he had purchased Shanti's life from her adoptive mother to save her from a life of servitude before they were separated in a sudden attack. Despite the old wounds and distrust between the two of them, Celibane agreed to help the party parley with the Elginwites, though he warned them that the Woad Wardens speak in riddles and often have trouble communicating with civilized people. Celibane created a gateway in the Goalstone, and, upon stepping through, our heroes found themselves beset upon by giants. After a brief battle and several clever magical tricks, our heroes emerged victorious, and that is where we resume our tale. So you are all standing here in this clearing atop a small hill deep in the woods, far from where you entered. The ruins of ancient stone lay around you, the gateway nearby, the ancient stone, laying here and there has moss and vines covering pits in its surface from erosion and time. And the sun trickles down through the trees, though much of the forest beyond what you see in the clearing is in shadow. You have just slain these two, what are these guys? Ogres? Hill giants. That's what.
Hill giants. Yeah.
You've just slain these two hill giants. As you had come through the door, you were unable to communicate with them, and they attacked you. Celibane was delayed in reaching you for a few turns. And when he arrived, one of them was a spider or something? A beetle? I forget. And the other
it was a beetle.
and the other one had been put to sleep. Once you discovered that they were not friends of his, you fought them to the death. Silas launched one up into the air and exploded it when it hit the ground. And the other one, I believe, Solomon decapitated. Actually, I think Solomon might have killed both of them. In any case, that is sort of where we pick up. We stand in the forest. You can hear the sounds of buzzing insects and birds. Now that the rush of blood in your ears, the adrenaline of battle is calmed down, what does anybody do or say?
Roz looks to Celibane the druid. Well, if there was no one behind you, we can no longer afford to wait for our guide. You must join us into the forest, or surely you will perish alone.
Celibane, I guess, looks at the rest of you and says, is her line known for strangely thickness of skull, or perhaps there is another explanation?
Can we make an insight check to see if this is the real guy?
Sure, yeah.
I'm sorry, Pixel. I missed that. I was sneezing.
Yeah, I'm with Roz. I think we need to wait on our guide.
No, Silas, my count. It is too long already. We must away. We can no longer afford to wait.
Strangely enough, this energy will serve you well in what is to come. And he sort of releases this sort of trilling whistle that almost sounds a little bit like a bird song. And 9 creatures step out of the woods. I can get them. What you see approaching out of the woods are creatures that look much like centaurs in a way. However, they have magnificent sort of elk antlers stretching out from their head that sort of twist and turn up into the sky. Then they are toned and muscular individuals with a lower body that looks like an elk, and woven into their antlers and fur are flowers, leather straps, vines, images of snowflakes, leaves, butterflies, and all sorts of strange accessories. And in a deep, rumbling voice, one of these creatures, which steps fully into the clearing and a bit up the hill, and whose hide is sort of adorned by shiny green beetles, solemnly addresses you. And the words are completely incomprehensible. No language that any of you speak sounds anything like this or has ever sounded anything like this. And after a few moments, the creature finishes speaking, and Salar sort of moves over, and between the two groups.
Have you ever been so smart your brain blast turn into...
I don't know that I've ever been so smart. My brain blast has turned. Okay, sorry. Anyway, Salar bows to the creature and turns to the rest of you and says, Iliadanur of the Willow Council says the following. The ends meet time's offspring. We dream as you dream, as all dream. Let forgotten tales shine, as darkness does for those who see. And at this, he sort of flashes you a grin. What do you say?
Any chance we could get that text in the chat?
Sure.
Yes, please.
The ends meet time's offspring. You know what? Roz would. I can't think of a poem, but Roz would like to attempt to recite a Tabaxi poem.
Okay.
Would you allow me to make a performance check?
Sure.
That's a 14.
14. Sure. And what is the what is the, you don't have to come up with exactly what you say if that's hard to do on the spot.
I think
what's the gist of like what you're trying to express through this?
I think the theme of the poem has to do with 9 lives and how each life is sort of maybe more precious than the last. It's almost like a poem about the philosophy of life and death for Tabaxi.
Okay. Yeah, with a 14, they seem impressed at the manner in which you have responded. And as Salar translates, because again, like they're saying stuff, and when you say things, he has to translate back. They don't understand like directly what you're saying. And a few moments pass as the creature speaks, to which Celobane says, indicating that their response to this is, what are we to shapes flat? Impossible to describe colors you cannot see.
This is completely out of character. I think he's breaking the fourth wall. I think they know we're here, guys. Like us, like me, like Beast.
Perdita looks very puzzled.
Yeah, I
And
don't think.
she's going to look at. To begin with, could I have that last line again, please?
Sure. I'll just make a habit of putting everything they say in chat so you guys can try to puzzle
Because
it
we're
out.
Thank
trying
you.
to puzzle. Yeah.
What are we to shapes flat? Impossible to describe colors you cannot see.
Shanti,
Yes, Raz.
I believe while they appear to speak in riddle, it has the touch of wisdom about it. Wisdom of ages. It sprung forth from me, the memory of a poem I learned as a young tabaxi. Perhaps do any songs come forth to the front of you, the tip of your tongue? I believe we must sing our intentions to them.
I love that idea. Thank you. And I think that Shanty will make a performance check on a sea shanty that she
Okay.
learned as a child.
Gotcha. And what? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. And the general, it's been so long since, I was a child and I learned it, so I probably forgot a few lines. But the general idea is just this sense of adventure, finding new lands, meeting new people, and just a general joy of exploration.
Gotcha. Yeah, and so with a 10 in this instance, the response that you get to your performance as the creature speaks is, again, coming through Salabane. We can only taste what touches our tongue, but bitter is the flavor of love gone wrong.
Not a fan. That's okay.
And at this point, as you've tried a couple of things, seeming to speak sort of more for himself in this instance, Celobane says, as I stated, communication with them can be difficult. These woad wardens, mortal concerns do not translate well to beings such as they. Their thoughts and dreams differ from ours. I would recommend that you make your request in a way similar to how they have addressed you, or to attempt to make your plea for an alliance with a display of artistic skill.
Roz is going to start unpacking all of the instruments that she has and handing them out to people.
Perdita cocks her head and says, I too remember a song from very long ago that, as I think it through, I think it could apply. I will try if you will let me.
Can Roz accompany her? Give her the help action?
Yeah, sure, if that's what you guys want to do. I mean, I would say let's move out of like let's pause the roleplay scene for a second for you guys to discuss how exactly you want to approach this. So Perdita has suggested maybe she might know a song. You could try a number of things, a number of like means of displaying some sort of artistic talent, or just speaking to them in weird riddles that you hope mean what you want, right? So you have a couple of options here, but I want to give you guys a chance to really think about it, and we'll just sort of pause the scene for a moment while you kind of strategize here.
All right.
Cool. Thank you.
Well, this is, excuse me.
Oh, no, I was just saying thank you. Go on, sure, sorry.
Okay, well, seeing the what did somebody else want to?
No, that was you. You're the only one who's been talking, and please continue.
Okay, so seeing the song "The Dream As You Dream," whatever, impossible. It reminded me of a song, so I looked up song lyrics on the phone, and I was going to try to meld them into the situation we find ourselves with. Darkness is creeping over the land, and we need help. And the song that I came up with is "Hello, Darkness, My Old Friend." I've come to talk with you again, and I thought I would try to meld in there somewhere about the darkness is creeping over, and because a vision horribly creeping left its seat
killed the Baron while I was sleeping.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do if we were supposed to throw riddle upon riddle. That was Perdita's idea.
I kind of love that, honestly.
Roz.
Yeah, I really like that.
Roz has a lute, a lyre, a dulcimer, and a tambourine, and I believe that Shanty, you also have a flute.
I do. I have my pan flute. Yep.
So we could be Perdita's backing band.
Let's do it.
We're getting the band back together.
Okay.
That is bardic inspirations for let's see here. For Silas, for Enna, and for Perdita.
Interesting. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do, because this is an interesting little situation here. The DC for this performance check is 15. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna allow of everyone who, so Perdita's making the check. That seems to be the consensus. For everyone else who beats a 10 on your performance check, I will lower Perdita's performance requirement by 1.
Ooh.
Love that.
So if you all succeed and beat a 10, we can drop it to an 11 total, right? And anywhere between 15 and 11. And you can use Bardics. I won't say you have the help action in this situation because you're all, we're not going to give Perdita advantage on this, but we will lower that DC for everyone who.
Okay, so do I not have to perform it? I just roll because I've been here trying to figure out the.
I mean, I can if you want to try and figure it out.
Let's all do our rolls before bonus mom does.
And
to
those
see
of
what
you,
the
some
DC
of you have
will be.
bardic inspiration from Roz, if you wish to. Try
Yeah, and that is an extra
okay.
D8
Yeah.
that you can roll.
And
So-
Synapsis, you have coins and you don't know how to help with a reroll. In the coins, the one that says grant inspiration for 2,500, that is the thing that allows them to reroll. Also, you guys have DM inspiration if anyone chooses to use that.
I'm going to use my DM inspiration.
Wait, so I can roll again?
So if you want to burn your DM inspiration, you can use that. Or you can roll your bardic inspiration and see if you can. If you get a 2, which you have like a pretty good chance of doing, you have like a 75% chance of getting at least a 2, or even higher than that. As long as you don't get a 1 on your D8, you would hit a 10. So it's up to.
Oh, okay.
And actually, yeah.
So I just roll 1d8.
Yeah.
Yes.
If that's the route you want to go. 2.
2.
Exactly
Oh, perfect.
Yay.
Yeah, so that's Taylor's a success. I'm not Taylor. This is Enna is a success. Roz is a success. Shanty.
And a 1,
Um,
2, 3.
That's a 9 from Shanty. And
Sure
we
is.
should call out the numbers for folks on the podcast. That's a 17
Cool.
from Roz, a 9
It's
from
actually
Shanty.
a 27 because I used my DM.
Oh, you use your DM.
inspiration.
It's a 27. That's right. God. That's high. Okay, and then is Silas participating? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
So Silas does have bardic inspiration, but he's also looking at everybody, going to stick his rapier into the ground,
Okay.
pull it very hard, and start the blade song for a
Okay.
very rhythmic hum kind of
Okay.
behind, hopefully giving advantage.
Why do I have Chicago stuck in my head now?
Let's see. You're burning the blade song.
I am burning a blade song for this.
Oh, what does the blade song normally grant you? Can
A
you-
ton of
How,
stuff,
how about
dexterity
this?
checks
Give
and-
him advantage on his bardic.
That'll work.
I think a blade. You only get a certain number of blade songs. It's like your proficiency bonus per day, right?
Yeah.
I'll say burning that resource gives you advantage on this. I think that's fair.
Hell yeah.
Dope.
All right.
Dope.
Because it's like, is burning a character resource not equal to burning like a chat inspiration? It seems okay. So that's
12. I'm gonna throw in D8 anyway.
Okay.
D8, right?
Yeah.
So a 13.
Okay. So, anything else from Shanty? Anything else you want to throw on that 9, or you're gonna let it stand?
Yeah, actually. So for DM inspiration, I'm sorry, so it's a D8.
So bardic inspiration is a D8. DM inspiration, and this is another one of those things. Wizard of the Coast, Jeremy Crawford. Look at me, fucking look at me. Why did you call them both inspiration? It's just this. This is smites all over again, man. Use a different word. Okay, so bardic inspiration gives you an extra die to roll, like to add a smaller numerical bonus or something. DM inspiration grants you advantage, so you would just re-roll the die, and we'll take whatever's on the left if you use that. So.
Oh, okay, sweet. Well, then I will do that if that is okay.
But that's
Can I
one of
do it
those
now?
things about 5th edition D&D
Yeah.
that I'm like, I get that, like, how many words are there for things, but
Nice.
22.
Okay, better.
Okay,
Okay.
so here's what I'm going to do. You guys who cracked a 20, I'm going to knock 2 points off. I think that's fair. That's,
Sweet.
I think Roz and Shanty go back to back.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, let's see. Anna got there with the bardic. Shanty got there with DM inspiration. Roz got there either way, but really crushed it with DM inspiration. And Silas cracked it. So that's a total of 6. So you're trying to beat a DC 9 performance check per Dita
And you have bardic inspiration.
on your rendition of "Hello, Darkness, My Old Friend,"
Well,
a la the region of Bedegar.
I have mentioned
Allah.
before that all the musical talent in my family comes through my children. So any musical accompaniment you give me would be deeply appreciated. I said it in the right accent, but it's bonus mom talking. So Perdita gets a hold of her tail for courage. And you can tell she's thinking back to a long, long time and that her brain is really going. And so she looks at these creatures, and I think she will turn all around because they seem to be all around her as she performs. And she says, in a sing-songy voice, but perhaps not too melodic, "Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk to you again. Because a vision darkly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain, it still remains with the sounds of destruction. In restless forest paths I walked alone, narrow places all alone, beneath the trees that shined above. I turned my collar to the wind without love. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of your shining face, you split the night and took away the sounds of destruction."
Okay, make that check. And tell you what, I'll give you advantage for singing.
That was beautiful.
Because
That
God
was
help
so
me, right?
amazing.
So great.
That was so good.
Here on AOA, we like big
Oh.
swings, friends.
I didn't even need it. What did I roll? What did
I don't know. I
roll?
don't see it
I
yet.
don't see it. Did I not? Did it not roll?
No, I didn't see it roll.
No.
If you can't get it to roll, try refreshing your page.
I'm letting the suspense build. Is it working?
A lot.
So much
I
suspense.
only have 5 lives, please.
I'm just going to say between the musicians
You
that
have
are sitting
5?
in front of me that you made the old lady come up with the song is rather horrible.
Hey, you offered. Okay. You jumped right in there. Nobody got in front of you. You just
Well, Roz remembers another time in a nightclub when I did that, don't you, Roz?
Oh my gosh. Top 10 favorite memories of my lifetime.
What did I do? I can't see it. 14. I got
14.
14. Yeah, you were trying to
14.
beat a DC 9 on that because
Yay.
thank God for all your friends' help because 14 originally would not have cut it. So,
Well, but I had bardic inspiration.
okay.
Well, that was help from my friends, but
Yeah, so you go through this performance. Roz and Shanty are really kind of carrying the group in a big way. But hey, they're the bards. That's how it's supposed to be, right? But everybody does a pretty passable job of getting through this, and you again can see that they are visibly impressed by all of this. They turn excitedly and sort of chatter for a few moments in their strange speech with Celobane, who eventually turns and says, "Good news. You have been found worthy of further consideration by the Willow Council. Iliadanur would pose to you a riddle. He claims it was presented by a human who understood their thinking. If you can resolve it, an alliance shall be granted for the duration of your conflict with this Lord Saxton. You may want to write this down."
Roz takes out an ink quill.
And Iliadanor, the lead guy. Incidentally, I should show you all. Pardon me. We'll pop over here to the map for just a second because I do want to show you this guy. I forgot to do that earlier.
These Elgin Whites, these are some freaky
Nope,
little
not it.
woodland creatures, huh?
That's not it. It's not this one.
Freaky little guys.
Handouts.
Yeah,
and
a little freaky.
little guy. Okay, and this is our guy. This is the dude who's been doing all the talking.
Wow.
He is a big elk antler man. That's the guy. There he is. So we'll pop back over here. And yeah, so they speak in more in this incomprehensible language for a minute before he translates, saying thus: "A challenger came to visit 4 Elgin Whites, claiming to know a number that held no certainty." And 4 of the individuals sort of speak, and he translates one at a time. They sort of step forward as they do, beginning first with the one kind of behind you, sort of steps up and around the edge of the stone that's lying there. And the translation says, "What happened when the stranger came next to me? Conflagration did I summon, and yet he stood." And then the one from the opposite side near Iliadanur steps up and says, "A sailor's demise did I attempt to provide, and yet he emerged and made his claim a final time." And the one to the right steps forward and says, and again through the translation says, "Of all to speak with him, I was the first. I cursed his name like lightning, and storms did rage, and yet he stood." And then finally, the one to the left steps up and says, and the translation says, "Penultimate was I. As he strode, calm as ever to see me, he stood his ground, I must confess." And then, speaking for himself, Celobane says, "They hope you can sort out this tale. The answer is elementary to them. If at first you don't succeed, try again."
So the way that they speak is not in the order that they were visited. And that feels important. Also, each of the speakers is associated with a different element in their attempts to either kill or scare the visitor. So that might also be important. And I think we might have to try to recreate the story in the right order.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
let me see. Yeah, so I've posted everything in there. A challenge came to visit 4 Elgin Whites, claiming to know a number that held no certainty. What happened, and then it goes through the different statements.
So the first of all to speak, I was the first, and that's the lightning and thunder guy.
Okay.
Let's see. We know the second to last. He strode calm as ever. He stood his ground. So who was the second and who was the last?
The second, yeah, the last one. It says somewhere. Right?
Oh, a sailor's demise.
Yeah,
he
final
made his
time.
final claim. Okay, so water is last.
Mhm.
Lightning is first. I guess
Fire is second.
stood his ground is third and fire is second. All right.
Can you say that again? I want to write it down.
Yeah, here I'll put them back in chat in the order. Oh, hang on.
So lightning,
So it's-
fire, water, ground, right?
Thank you. Yes. Lightning,
No,
fire,
ground,
water.
Sorry. Yeah.
Water's
lightning,
last.
fire,
Yeah.
water.
Lightning, fire, ground, water. Lightning, fire, ground, water.
Fire, ground, water.
Silas, how many spell slots you got?
Few. Why?
Anna, you're fresh, right? You got spells? Shanty?
Plenty.
You got
Yep.
some- Awesome. I think those are our 4 horsemen right there. We need fire, so Anna.
Mm-hmm.
We need water, Shanty. We need thunder or lightning. I think that's probably Roz. And we need someone to stand their ground. I think that might be Jesse or Silas.
What should I do to stand my ground?
Is this a sacrifice?
You know,
It could be.
I'm
You know-
totally in a different place because I look at all this thing and what comes to my mind is they're either referring to time or lifetime or death. Like the span of a life. So I'm just totally missing the 4 things. You think you have to throw spells at them? That's so interesting. I would never have seen that.
Do you think we? Go ahead, B. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, we should explore other interpretations if
Mhm.
people.
Well,
Do we have to
I mean,
show our power to prove ourselves?
Maybe. I mean, he would not have rearranged them if it had not been important. The DM would not have done
Yeah,
that.
I will also say he did say if at first you don't succeed, try again. So you don't get the sense that this is your first answer locks you in or out of it. You know what I mean? Like you can try a
Oh,
couple
okay.
different things based on that statement. So it's not like you have to perfectly solve it and then give the answer. Otherwise, they're all going to race off into the trees and be like, "Fuck you!" You know. They are fine with you making several attempts. So you can try a couple different things, and if whatever doesn't work, you can reevaluate. So
Okay.
So no, maybe you need someone with those skills needs to walk up to each one of those people and have a confrontation. That's what you think? That
Maybe.
makes sense.
Well, Roz has 5 lives. I volunteered to attempt if this ends in death.
Okay, well,
So
I
who's
think
got
the-
lightning? Who's got lightning?
Thunderwave.
I think I do too.
If call lightning, I think, if it comes to it.
Okay.
Ooh.
Who has water?
I have water. So,
Just
Shape
piss.
water or something like that?
yeah, I've got create or destroy water. So my thinking was instead of a confrontation, I was just going to come out with water in my hands to the person. But I don't know if we should try something offensive. What are you all
Well,
thinking of
let's
doing with
have
yours?
fire. The big thing I'm worried about is like I don't have an earth spell. I have something that could pass maybe. It's a hold person. I mean that's
pretty good.
earth
Standard.
adjacent, I
I mean,
guess.
but you could use. It's about standing your ground, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I was thinking.
You plunged your sword into the ground too. That's kind of standing.
Oh.
It's
Oh, true.
We could just play Red Rover.
I think it's worth a shot. See what happens.
Well, Roz will step up to the first, or not the first, but the lightning and storm speaker.
Okay.
I can't remember which one it was, but
the order of the people, and you don't know if this is important or not, but I will just tell you. Let's see, the person who spoke first, who said the thing about the conflagration, was the guy to the south. The person who spoke next and said the thing about the sailor's demise was the one to the north. The person who spoke and said the thing about lightning was the one to the east, and the person who said the thing about the ground was the one to the west. So, in order, south is fire, north is water, east is lightning, west is ground.
Well, Roz is
Okay.
going to stomp over to the east. Elgin White. She's going to take a step back and sort of look off to the side. And she is going to do the Hisker's Yowl, cast Thunderwave at first level, filling her lungs with air. Everyone sees that she's wearing 2 leather belts, and they're both straining around her ample waist. Yow! And she casts Thunderwave into the air, sort of harmlessly, and takes a very deep bow in front of the Elgin White.
Okay.
All right. Shanty's going to walk up to our friend to the north here and cast Create Water in her hands and sort of offer her handful of water.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Silas. Yeah, that's right. Ground is penultimate. Yeah.
Oh, man. I missed
Wait,
the order.
Which one's?
I was
think
last.
water's last, right?
Water's
Oh,
last.
whoopsie.
I messed it up.
We'll see.
I'm
We'll
sorry.
see. It's fine.
I got so excited. Sorry.
It's all right. Do you want to try to start over, or do you want to?
I mean, I'll let you guys fix that air. It's fine. You can say.
Okay.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
not gonna hold you to that. That's fine.
Thank God.
Okay.
I-
So Roz did the yowl, and that was the lightning
Lightning. Yeah.
guy. So who is going next?
I think it's Enna, right?
Fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Fire. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Anna is going to go to the guy in the south, and Sacred Flame is like fire, right?
No, it's radiant.
That's radiant. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, you have Scorching Ray and,
Oh
Scorching
yeah.
Ray.
I'll
and
just do
Fireball and probably other stuff. You're a light cleric. You
Oh,
have access
fire.
to some
What a
fire
fireball.
spells
Okay.
for sure.
I don't
Oh.
know.
I'll just do Scorching Ray, and
Okay.
Anna's gonna lift her hands up to the sky and shoot 3 fireball like things.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
I guess
I think
that
that's
leaves.
Silas, right?
Yep. Silas is going to turn to Celebane and say, please translate this. Turn back to the Elgin White in front of him and say, I'm very sorry about this. And cast Hold Person.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think he might not be a person, so it might not affect him because it does specifically people. But iron chains shoot out from the ground and wrap, and then fall limply as I immediately dispel the spell.
Yeah. So let's see. A humanoid. I don't think it can affect him. He is a fey creature.
That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah.
So
But you
hoping it
cast the
wouldn't.
spell and it does its thing to some extent, right? Okay. And you sort of wait expectantly for a moment, and the Elgin Whites kind of look back and forth between each other. And Celebane. I know how to talk. Oh wait, sorry, Shanty. You have to do
Shanty
your
has
thing.
to go.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Absolutely, for the first time, Shanty's going to walk up and
Right.
offer a handful of water using Create Water.
Yeah. So a moment passes, and they sort of all kind of look back and forth between each other, and shortly Celobane sort of chuckles and says, how like civilized folk. A bit too literal, I think.
Okay.
And that does not appear to be the solution.
What a good show!
It was very impressive.
We sang. There was fire. We have flames and lightning. It's really cool.
This reminds me of my youth.
Okay, Perdita's going to look at Celebane then as everyone else is gathering up all their little magic things and putting them back in their pocket. And she's going to say, because I mentioned it before, right? Okay, Celebane, do they speak about time?
He says, consider carefully. It is all about how things begin.
Interesting.
Celebane, are they speaking of life?
He sort of shakes his head and says, I cannot help more than this. If you folks would like to make a DC 12 intelligence check, I can consider what your character might be able to intuit about this. Because we are in that kind of weird space where, like, your character may have a level of intelligence different from, like, you personally and might have some insight into the riddle.
Is it
So
just
that's
intelligence?
Yes,
That's
it is
a
just a
saving
raw
throw?
intelligence check. It's not a saving throw, just a raw intelligence check.
Damn it.
Oof.
Rolling like
Yeah.
crap.
Oh
Shanty.
no!
Oof.
She's
Shanty's figured it out.
Oof. So close.
Oof.
Okay. So we had a 16. I'll just read it for folks if you're on the podcast. 16 from Roz, 10 from Silas, nat 1 from Shanty, 11 from Enna, and 6 from Perdita. So the only success on that was Roz, to whom...
I want to know what Shanty believes first.
Yeah, so I think Shanty, I think you're like, you really thought that was it. You're like, no, we got it. That was it. Like, what do you mean? That was the one.
Should I have washed my hands first? Is this gross? Like,
and the Yeah, so this is the what occurs to Roz. Roz, you think back and you're like, this is a riddle. And you attempted this sort of physical response to it, right? Based on like the order of things. You feel pretty confident that like that order of things is right, but that maybe the response was somehow wrong. That wasn't the kind of thing they were looking for. And you think back to the very first thing that was said to you. Before even the clues, a challenger came to visit 4 Elginwites, claiming to know a number that held no certainty. So you think that the response and is somehow related maybe to that, and whatever the rest of this is somehow maybe trying to give you clues into what that claim about a number that holds no certainty is.
Then Perdita's convinced her life is correct, the span of a life. That's where Perdita's 6 came from. She's sure she was right, and they're just teasing us.
Well, then Roz is going to look up at the Eastern Elginwite and say the first thing that comes to her mind, which is, I know the number that you seek.
And Celobane translates this, and the creature sort of cocks its head at you, curiously.
Roz is going to ask Celobane if she should speak the number.
He says, if you're certain, by all means.
If what Perdita says is true, then the only number you could possibly wish for is the number of a life. And that number is 9.
At this, I think Celobane actually laughs out loud and says, I actually hadn't heard that one before. And he translates, and the creature sort of like cocks its head at you, and I think like really gets its face down in, probably sniffs you a little bit before kind of like shaking its head. And a few more moments pass, and that does not all appear to have been the answer either.
That was so precious.
It's a good try.
So what you guys have here, you have these 4 mini riddles, right, that are in an order and appear to relate to elements, and somehow those clues relate to a number that holds no certainty.
Well, that only number is 0, isn't it?
Well, 0 is pretty certain.
It is?
You can't divide by 0.
So you've got, just to sort of like really kind of break it down here, you've got an order, you've got elements, and you know the like format your response is kind of supposed to take. So I think
my God, it's the periodic table.
I think the order is pretty clear. Maybe there's something with the elements that you're not seeing.
So what was it? First is lightning, second is fire, third is ground, and fourth
last is water.
Yeah. And the thing I would also ask,
last.
when we think of like elements, right, are the typical elements that you operate with earth, water, lightning, and fire, or I'm sorry, ground, water, lightning, and fire?
Oh, wind.
Or do they maybe have other names that might?
Earth, water, earth, air.
Air.
Earth, water, earth, air.
Well, you said earth twice, but...
Wait, I said, yeah. Earth,
So
fire,
it's-
earth, fire, water, air.
So Of those,
Perdita
you-
knows the answer now.
okay.
So Perdita leans into Celebane and says, Celebane, is the answer a few?
He smiles a big grin and turns and says your response, to which the Elgin Whites sort of like raise their heads a little bit, and coming out of their throats is this just like sort of musical. It's almost like a howl or a hoot and a whistle at the same time. This like musical chord erupts out of these beasts as they kind of like shake their heads, and some of their antlers have like little tinkling shells and things like that. And you hear some nearby birds like take flight at that moment. And this is by far the most interesting response you have gotten to this. And Celebane turns and says, cleverly done.
She is the heir of Hercules, after all.
I have no idea who that is.
We don't either. We genuinely don't either.
But yes, the answer is a few, a number that holds no certainty. And you get that answer because air,
earth, water.
fire, earth, water. First
I
letter
wrote
of
that
each
down.
of those
That was
elements
Oh my
gets
goodness.
you
Oh.
to
Looked down
the
and looked
answer.
at it.
Air, fire.
Wow.
Oh, come on.
Which is probably a dissatisfying answer for a human, but for an Elgin White, that's like that's mind blowing shit right there.
Great puzzle.
Wow.
Great.
Yeah. Well done.
I think you all have to call me Perdita the Great now.
I'm for it. Perdita the Great.
And so the Elgin Whites speak with Celebane a little more and basically indicate to you all that they will form an alliance with you, understanding that this Saxon guy is a problem. And they offer you a unit, which I will now show to you. In battle, you can summon the Swamp
No.
Mother.
No.
The Swamp Mother is a
Nice.
tier 3 veteran light unit, which is a unit that is just a giant shambling mound infantry. It's massive. It has size 8, so it's bigger than most units. It is damage resistant and has some really wild abilities. And that is the unit that you get for solving the Elgin White's riddle of numbers.
Perdita leans in once more and says, Celebane, I think I can get them the sheet music to that if they would like to have it.
He smiles, and they confer for a few moments, and eventually the main guy, Iliadonor, sort of comes up to Perdita and reaches down a hand and places it on your shoulder. And Celebane translates and says, do we save the birds or break the cages? Questions that are haunting. And there's no second chance to try again. Do we burn it all or douse the flames? Rebuild from ash or let the bones remain? These questions have no answers, even still.
Perdita bows her head. But we try, she says. We try.
You have everything it takes to make a ghost. And with that, they begin to walk back into the forest, and Celebane says, send word to me when the battle is nigh, and I will
And
let them
Perdita-
know, and they will send their aid.
And Perdita says to Celebane as they turn to go, You know what I thought he was going to say? I thought he was going to say, don't give up your day job.
He says, I have not had a job in a very long time.
Perdita walks away, but she makes eye contact with Shanti. And she's kind of like, a person can beckon with their eyes. She's kind of looking at Shanti and looking back at Celebane. And then she just sort of walks past.
Shanti's going to walk up to Celebane and offer her hand.
He regards it for a moment and then sort of tentatively reaches out his own hand.
I think she's going to take it and shake it and say thank you. I hope we meet soon.
It is good to see you again.
And you as well.
I am sorry.
I'm just glad to have some answers. I'm sorry that my rage was misdirected this whole time. I hope one day that you and I can touch base again and become proper friends.
The earth itself knows that rage is a powerful tool. But within itself, power asks of us, requires care, intention, discernment. Your anger was not wrong, merely pointed in the wrong direction.
I understand. I again apologize. And she'll just kind of bow low. Thank you. Thank you for saving my life.
He nods at you. And unless anybody else has anything to say or discuss with Celebane, he will move back over to the gateway and once again do some funky druid magic, opening up the way to return to whence you came.
I think Silas, with his very literal wizard brain, is sitting there just being like, but that's just a turn of phrase. Like, it's not an actual number. Just like really upset.
That's great. Love it. Okay, and with that, unless anybody else has anything that they need to do in this moment, that feels like a pretty good note there. You all are returned to the Goldstone and make your way back to Castle Rend. And that you've secured the aid of the Elginwights, a bit of a shorter side adventure than some of the others have been. One fight and a riddle, but hopefully that was an entertaining diversion. So that brings us to our next organization turn. We have a couple things that we'll need to do here. There are now 2 weeks left before the final confrontation, before anyone's all your armies can be ready. You remain with 2 possible sort of quests, although if you want to try and do something else instead of go on both of these, you can. But according to your intelligence report, you might be able to secure the aid of the Orchid Court, who are the elves in the woad of the Orchid Court, which is kind of northwest of Bedegar Keep itself. Also, I believe you know some information about the Star Chamber, which is the headquarters of the Knights of the Roses. If you can get inside, you might be able to uncover secrets and maybe take some of Saxton's lieutenants off the board. But, you fought Peloton. You know that they're tough. So, you can read those reports as you will. So that's the decisions that you guys have about what you're going to do. We won't jump into either of those things right tonight. So you therefore don't necessarily have to make a decision on what exactly you're going to do. What I would like to resolve is the organization turn. So if you guys want to take a few minutes and talk about that, I know you had kind of come up with the sort of what your plan was, and last time you raised your resources, if you'll recall, we kind of talked a little bit about what the different defenses do for you and for Saxton and things like that in terms of raising your defenses or lowering his, right? And you have a certain number of warfare units, right? I think your consensus was that with all the allied units that you're getting, that you're in pretty good shape. You have, from the armor, you have the Blue Dragonflight, you have the Hisker's Band, which are infantry, you have Solomon's Soldiers, which are infantry, you have your Rangers left over from the last, fight. I think I think you're down to 1 unit of archers there. You have 3 units of cavalry. You have the Lancers, you have the Old Guard, and you have the Hounds of Dalrath, who are, I believe these guys are actually Hellhound cavalry, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong about that. From Dalrath.
While we kind of chew this over, do you think it would be a good time to take a break?
We can take a break. I think it actually would make more sense to discuss it on stream, just because one of the things we're doing with this adventure is sort of showcasing
individually
rules,
as we sort of
Take a quick break,
yes.
a 5-minute break.
Can we take a break, please?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that, we'll take a quick break and then we'll get into it. I would guess I was saying, don't all of you go talk about all of what you're going to do really quickly through the text.
No,
if that makes sense, which may not have been what you're suggesting, but okay. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. It is 8:16, so we'll be back in about 5 minutes, and we'll see you shortly. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Sorry for the delay there. So yeah, we have returned from our adventure to the Elginwold, and after the successful solving of a riddle with the answer a few by Perdita, we return to Castle Rend, and we are taking the next to last organization turn, I believe. So, what would you guys like to do? Go ahead and talk it out, and let me know what you think you would like to do.
So we had kind of left it off with breaking down our amassed army at this point.
Right.
And I think we had Silas probably still wants 1 more unit of artillery.
Yeah, for sure. Because we only have, remind me, we only have 1?
I think we only have
currently have
either
1.
1 or 2.
You currently have 1.
Rangers?
Yes, you have 1 unit left over of Orin's Rangers, who are currently tier 1 veteran light. So.
And do we only have 1 unit of archers?
That is the unit of archers.
That's them, yeah.
That's what we're talking about. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember from
Sorry.
the other battle just how useful the archers were.
Yeah.
Have some range is good.
As a wizard, I get a ability along with that, so having some would definitely help.
Oh, cool.
And the 2 jobs you have left to go look at, although again, if you guys want to go off book and come up with something else that you think you should do with your player turns, but the 2 things that are sort of pre-scripted are reaching out to the elves of the Orchid Court and looking into the Star Chamber about possibly getting some intelligence and or taking some one of the lieutenants off the board. So those are in terms of what you guys are doing, just in case that influences your decision-making process on what your org turn is going to be. I'm not saying that it should. I'm just, kind of.
And who has
Putting
their
those in the-
proficiency die left?
I think I still
Solomon
do.
and Shanty, I think. Oh no, Enna and Shanty, because we couldn't use Enna's last time because you weren't here.
Okay.
So Enna and Shanty have their proficiency die left.
Yes.
And last time you raised your resources, I believe it was the +1. Your resources defense. So
Let me open up the old party sheet here.
Pulling mine up as well.
Yeah. So our defenses currently are 0 communications, 0 resolve, and +1 resources. None of our defenses have been attacked successfully. And there's 2 weeks, two turns left before the big old battle at the end.
Yeah.
So there's still a chance.
So
Yeah.
you can use your turn action to muster units. There's not going to be a roll required for this, for mustering human units, on this turn. So, you could muster more archers if you want. Basically no roll required. They would start out as basic ones. I think you would need to make a subsequent turn on your, later last turn to modify any units if you want to upgrade gear, and I think you can modify any units that are controlled.
Money,
yeah, you can modify any units controlled by the officer using the domain action that turn. So you'd be able to basically upgrade one of you, because the units, when we go to this final battle are going to be assigned to you guys as they have been, right? And some of you might have more than one. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff on the board. So, but you can also only modify your units. You can't modify the loaned units from the other allies, right? Like the crew who you get from the clock or whatever. You can't change their gear and stuff. So yeah, those, that's one route you could take: muster a unit and then maybe modify some units next turn. You could, you could keep raising your defenses or trying to lower their defenses. And those are basically the things you have time for left, pretty much.
And if we want to muster a unit, I think that will cost 500 gold of support and supplies, and then to upgrade a light unit of any variety would also cost 500 gold to take them to medium.
Right.
Okay.
So that's, in terms of the economics, what it would cost if we want to spend money. How much do we have in the sort of the Rend fund?
I'm looking right now. Did I put it? I'm trying to figure out where I put it.
Because we got
We
extra
have 500 gold.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, we got it
Awesome.
from now. I have money. I don't know where everybody else is on money. I'm starting to get a little Hispanic in there. Perdita has 1,252 gold pieces, but the 500 gold is for everybody.
Let's see.
Raza's 370 gold.
I'm sitting at 350.
Well, how did I get so much gold? I might be holding gold we got somewhere else. That is possible.
I couldn't possibly tell you. I don't keep track of that stuff.
Well, I do.
Yeah.
So we've already mustered the Lancers.
Yes.
We've already used our skilled negotiator.
Mm-hmm. We can use the volunteer blacksmiths
That's
if
what I was
we
thinking.
want. But if we do that, it only gives us a benefit if we succeed and if we muster levies.
That's what I was thinking. Try this turn to muster levies and next turn to do an operations check to give them heavy equipment.
No, they would start with heavy equipment.
Right, but it's two different. It's two
we
different
would have to
weeks, right?
muster before the end. Yeah, that's true. So any levies we have when we succeed on the volunteer blacksmiths would get upgraded to heavy.
Okay.
But what about the archers?
Do we currently have levies?
I
don't believe you do, because the
Yeah,
original levies that came
Right.
from
they
Rend
disband
and the
after
ones
every battle.
well, and
so.
and I think there were certain like levies that were from Territon, who now that Territon is burned to the ground, they've become basically professional soldiers for you guys. So I think those have been turned into Solomon soldiers now.
Yep.
Okay.
That is what they used to be. Gears levies, and then they were Gears infantry, and now they're Solomon soldiers. So.
Well, I don't understand. Did we veer off of the archers or the rangers?
Well, so they were discussing whether or not to use the special ability you guys have that can make your levies have heavy equipment, which would be done in lieu of getting more archers, yes. Unless you get archers from the elves. You don't know necessarily what kind of unit they would give you, but that would be one way to maybe get
talking
another
to the elves might be a
But, you've got, it's like a logistical problem. You've got, it's not a guarantee that you'll A, solve their problem and get their thing, and B, that it will be archers, but elves and archers in fantasy could be, right? The other thing, sorry, go ahead.
Did we on our information, we have an information sheet somewhere.
The Erland Intelligence Report.
That's right. Did it talk about how the elves are going?
Yeah. So the
I found it. While we're chaotic, autumn they turn into a quiet competition, and winter is not a what season is it?
It is summer now. Basically,
it's
the
campaign season.
Yeah. So what's gone on is through the last winter, you were consolidating your hold over Castle Rend. Saxon was consolidating his hold over Bedegar, but it wasn't a good time for mustering troops and all that stuff, because it was the middle of winter. And then in the spring, there was they had to plant crops and the farms and stuff. So now that you're at the tail end of spring going into summer, it was kind of the end of spring right after the planting season when this started. Now we're a couple weeks into summer, basically. The time scale gets a little funky, but that's essentially what's going on because they want this to all be hopefully done by the fall when all the people have to come harvest the crops, right? So the goal is to engage in the big military campaigns in the summer when there's not as much,
to do.
Yeah.
When we're saying elves, are they high elves, wood elves, dark elves?
You would know this from having been in the spent time with the elves and then the blade song and stuff. Most of the time, elves in a woad are wood elves. Because a woad is like a big tree thing. So
right. Is there any way to get a history check on their kind of opinion of the woad that Anna and I are from?
Yeah, I would let you make a history check to see what you would know about them based on your
17
time. 17. Okay, let me go pull them up here 1 second.
Because the idea would be for Anna and I maybe to lead a group to talk to them about any issues they may have and kind of convince them that this is worth coming to our aid for. However, see, I don't. Well,
so that would be our player turn.
True.
And if we think that the outcome of that would is a specific thing, then how do we believe that visiting the Orchid Court changes our priorities for what we do this week? Are we recruiting, or are we trying to bump up our defenses?
Yeah. So here's what I'll give you as far as with a 17, what you would kind of know about the elves. you would know they don't necessarily have like a particularly high or low opinion of the other woad necessarily. They probably like other elves, and especially elves from a woad, more than they like, say, random humans, right? But I think between you and Enna, you would have a sense of like how to comport yourselves when like seeking an audience with them. You know, things like you should respect the creatures in the forest, not like chop down a bunch of trees and kill a bunch of small furry critters and stuff, you know. And kind of know that they largely think that like humans are flighty, hasty, and a bad influence, but that they could be, you know, persuaded to see Saxton, who is a human and, you know, lives in the castle nearby, as a existential threat if you guys are, you know, clever and persuasive, right? So, but yeah, given the background, that's sort of what you would think is like, how you would know how they view humans and kind of how to approach them. So
I would say, given that, it's probably safe to either make the operations check to get some blacksmiths, possibly get some levies, and we could raise or try to raise a one of our defenses, but can we raise power die? How is that? I'm sorry, I forgot how that works.
So power die are something that come up when you guys engage in combat with the lieutenants of the opposing group.
That's
all
the
of
Moss
you
battle,
and
right?
all, well, or you, if you go do the Star Knight or the Star Chamber thing, it's possible that you might run into some of their lieutenants because that's their headquarters, right? So anytime you or they are in battle with each other, you both roll power die and can use it to fuel some organization-based abilities that you get. So,
and our power die is based on size or anything like that?
Yes, it's based on a side. So your power die is currently a D4. I think they're a larger organization, so I think their power die is a D6, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh no, it says
no,
D4. Hang on,
we
I gotta
can't
look
raise
up
our size, can we? We can give
No,
Not,
if you beat
not during
like,
this adventure.
yeah.
we
So like,
can't.
if we were to keep playing this campaign, like let's say you win against Saxton, then you would raise your power die. It's like it's sort of when you kill another enemy organization, you get more powerful and raise your die.
Got it. I mean, I think getting more troops right now is probably the best bet. But I mean, I'm open to suggestions. I'm fine with either raising levies or the operations check to volunteer blacksmiths.
Well, we have $500, 500 gold pieces. You know, that is our joint thing if we just want to go out and buy something. And then Perdita doesn't exactly know. It is possible that we have money that Perdita, I don't think so. I don't know where I got my money. But there it sits, that I could help with that.
Shanty can help too. Definitely happy to donate to the fund for raising an army if we wanted to go that route. Is
But
that just
we
something
can't
that
just
we
go
can?
out- Excuse me.
No, go ahead.
We can't just go out and buy archers though, right? Or
We can muster them. Basically, we can set out a call to recruit people who are skilled, but it will cost us 500 gold to entice a unit of them.
but do we have to give up the blacksmiths if we do that?
Yes, it takes an action. Yeah,
All
it
right.
takes an action.
So
Got it.
So we have one action, and the things that we can do with an action are recruit, or we can attempt to do the blacksmith ability that makes our levies show up in full plate mail. And it's kind of it's a gamble because it is a check. We have to succeed a DC 13 operations test, and our operations skill is currently at +2. So that's about a 50-50 shot.
But we can add a proficiency, can we not?
Yes. So Enna and Shanty have their proficiencies left.
Mhm.
So either of you, Kyla or Taylor, whichever you prefer, if you would like to make this your turn, we can leave the decision up to you.
Yeah, and you would be able to add your proficiency die if we go this route, and if you decide to use it, you could add your proficiency to the check if you are proficient in athletics or insight on your character sheet. So,
Ooh.
Athletics or insight. Okay.
those are
Okay.
the skills that are associated with making operations tests, which is the kind of test you need for that blacksmith skill.
And so we
Um,
would get a +3 from our proficiency.
Yes, I believe you guys all have a +3 proficiency.
Okay.
So
I'm proficient. Go ahead, honey. Sorry.
oh, you're fine. I was gonna say I'm proficient in insight.
Okay, I was going to say I'm in athletics. So do we
Okay.
all agree to do volunteer blacksmiths?
It's
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I think we gotta try, right?
Yeah,
I
sounds
think
good.
so, yes.
And you're inspired. Don't forget you're inspired.
I'm
Yeah,
no
that's
longer
right.
inspired, but Taylor, are you still inspired?
I have DM inspiration.
Fantastic. Do you want to do the thing?
Okay.
Or do you want me to do the thing?
And
You can go. You can go first.
I think one of us is.
It's only one.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah,
one
so
gets to do it.
basically what will happen, Anna, is in order to use this ability, either you or Shanty will make an operations test and try to pass this DC 13 operations check. And if you're successful, that means that any levies you raise get better equipment. And so then next round, next turn, which will be after you finish your next adventure, right? You would then need to make a test to actually raise the levies. Well, you actually don't have to make a test to do it. You just can. So it's kind of a like you're basically what is happening in fiction right now is either you or Shanty is talking to a bunch of blacksmiths and convincing them to make a shitload of armor, right?
Okay.
I have a question about the domain bonus actions.
Yes.
Is an intrigue? Are we in one turn of an intrigue?
Yes.
Is every turn considered one intrigue, or is this whole campaign one intrigue?
The whole campaign is considered one intrigue.
Darn. Okay, so when it
Okay.
says once per intrigue, that means once.
Once. Yeah.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
Okay. So I'm rolling insight. Is that what's happening?
You are going to. So this is going to kind of be a bit of a custom thing because you're proficient in insight. You're going to be able to roll.
I think it's plus
to add
5,
your proficiency.
basically.
So basically, you're rolling a d20 plus 5 because you're not rolling your own insight. You're rolling your organization's
yeah.
operations plus your proficiency.
Okay. So a D20 plus 5.
D20
You
plus
got to
5,
beat an 8.
and you got to beat
Oh, boy.
a 13 total.
But-
So is that an 8 on the die?
But can't she have the bardic inspiration? Can't somebody cast it? No?
Well, I
No,
don't think
no,
she needs
because
it. She
this-
just rolled a 16. So
Oh,
These kind of actions you can't use bardic because
Right.
it's not about one person, it's about the whole organization being able to work together.
okay. So are you saying she rolled?
I mean, I see.
Yeah,
a
I
roll
rolled
there.
a six. Yeah, I rolled a
Yes.
six. It says 2 GM rolling.
So okay. You must
Did I
have
click
whispered
something?
it to me. Who knows?
Oh,
It's fine. So it
fine.
came to me. I saw it. Chat saw it. It's a 16 plus 5 is going to be 21. So that absolutely passes.
Oh my God, I thought you said 6.
No, 16.
Mm-mm.
16.
Oh,
So you have used your volunteer blacksmith's ability. So you don't get any units this turn, but you set the process up. You go talk to what is his name? I think it's Iago the Smith in Gravesford. Who I guess I never had to show him to you guys, did I? Oh, that's
Are you
not
saying
it.
Yago to Yago? All right, I'm done.
Maybe I did show you Iago. I don't actually remember.
I think we saw most of the colorful characters.
Yago to Yogo.
Gravesford NPCs. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, Iago,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the smith.
Yeah.
So you go to him and issue the order, and he rallies any blacksmiths they get access to begin, making armor for the levies that you're planning to summon. And that uses Enna's proficiency, and Shanty is the only one that hasn't used it yet. Okay, and
Solomon
then this
used his
turn...
to do what again? I'm sorry,
go ahead.
Solomon used his to do what again? I'm trying to remember.
I honestly don't remember. I think it was... Maybe he used his last time, didn't he? Wasn't that him?
I think
It was
but I-
Roz.
Okay.
Roz raised the resources.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then before that was Solomon.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that I honestly can't remember what every turn you guys have done. I know Perdita and Silas used theirs in the very first round because you made that bonus action diplomacy check and a regular diplomacy check, and that's how you got Dalrath and the orcs on your side. And then it must have been that Solomon went next. So this would have been whatever we did before you guys went to go deal with the necromancer. But I don't remember what that check was.
That's okay.
So,
no worries. Okay, love it. I think that's good.
Cool.
Nice job, Anna.
Yeah, GG's.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will also let you know that Saxton has mustered another unit. You don't know what kind.
Reaction.
Okay.
Backdoor negotiations. As a domain reaction, when an opposed domain gains a special unit from an NPC realm, make a diplomacy test against the opposed domain's communication.
Unfortunately, he's not raising it from another realm. He is mustering it in the same way that you guys are.
I have been reading this stuff for so long, trying to find a way.
I'm so sorry.
I know.
But yeah, no, he is mustering a unit.
Person.
You kind of did. I'll just tell you, is the only realm he had access to was the necromancer's realm, and you guys killed her, and she can't help him anymore. So, unfortunately, that's that you do have that ability in your sheet, but it's probably not going to come up. But you dealt with the problem anyway. So
I have on December 16th written that Bedegar has raised defenses and something about raising a knight successfully. Would that have been what Solomon did?
Raising knight successfully. He might. Did one of you guys maybe pay to improve some? Did he improve his soldiers?
Cavalry,
or maybe recruit something? Or
well, we got the crew from the jailbreak, right?
Yeah. Maybe he recruited the old guard back. Because I don't know.
I feel like he recruited cavalry because as a paladin, I think he got bonuses for commanding horsemen.
Dude, that sounds more familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, if I know Daniel,
if I think about
he has a way to exploit a benefit, then that's probably what he does.
If I have time to think about it in the next 2 weeks, I'll try and go back and look and see if I can track down what happened. Just
Missed
for
you, buddy.
Reference. And so that is that. So they've raised another unit. You don't know what type of unit it is because of you. That would require a successful espionage check, which you don't have the action economy to do currently. And yeah, so that is the end of that turn, basically. And so now, you guys, like I said, you don't have to necessarily decide what you're going to go do next out of the other two things. You can wait and talk in the intervening weeks between now and then with Daniel about it. But in the meantime, we have stuff going on at the castle. So before I jump into this, does anyone have any scenes that they want to do between any of the PCs? Anything you guys want to talk to any of the NPCs? Anything like that? Do you want to talk to Edmund? Do you want to talk to any of the folks in Bedegar or Twilight or Zola Honeycutt or any of your lieutenants, Gear, the Treant, Garx Brooks, any of that stuff? Does anyone have anything they want to do there?
Well, I want to talk to Roz and I want to talk to Silas, but there's no real sense of emergency. This is only before the battle. It's more, it's not, it's that. It's not serious, but I do want to do it.
Okay. Well, why don't we say let's maybe do one of those and then give somebody else a chance if they want to jump in. So just pick whichever one of those you think you want to do now.
Well, I think I'm going to pick Roz. But I'm saving the best for last, okay?
Okay.
So
so we return to Castle Wren, and again, the time is a little wobbly here. It's maybe a few days after you've returned from the situation with the Goldstone and the Elgin Whites. You are administrating your affairs and everything here in the castle. Now there is quite a bustle. There are missives rushing to and fro with your allies, indicating sort of logistics and how things are to happen and troop movements and things. Your soldiers are training in the courtyard, and various people are foraging in the woods, and constant travelers are coming from Gravesford itself to bring supplies and all kinds of things. And so we sort of enter this bustling castle to find Perdita approaching Roz. Where does this happen?
Well, it would be very likely that Roz would be in the Great Hall having herself a little snack.
A piece of cheese.
And it would be
a
equally
leg of
possible
meat.
that Perdita has been in the exercise room and has been working her tail rather seriously, almost twerking, as it were, as she teaches it strength. So she's worked up quite a thirst, and so she comes into the Great Hall and she looks a little askance at at the fatty cheese that Roz is eating, and she finds herself a cool drink of water and goes over and sits down beside Roz. And she says, "Oh, Roz, that looks very good, but that cheese, it is heavy and it will weigh you down. I know this from, before."
There is no danger for Hiskers. Our metabolisms are phenomenal, and they extend well into our middle age.
Well, yes, I think, yes, something is extending very much. Yes, Roz. Roz.
I will have to add another hole to this belt. I believe it is shrinking from humidity.
Probably, yes. I hope sitting beside my sweaty, tough, honed self doesn't make it get any wetter. Roz.
Yes, Perdita.
What are we going to do when this is all over?
Well, are you ready to assume the mantle of responsibilities that has been called to you through ages past, distilled into the blood in your veins?
In a word, no. But who could be ready for that, Roz? I did not grow up in that world. It is new to me, and I'm trying to understand. But Roz, you are such a leader, and they look to you because of your history. Roz, why can it not be you? You have a passion for it. You care. Blood is blood. We get cut and we spill it on the ground. But Roz, you have heart, and you have passion for this. And that is not where my passion is, Roz. Do you want to know what I want? Does it matter what I want?
I have lived my entire life believing I was owed a destiny. And I nearly lost one of my 9 lives when I learned it was not my destiny to begin with. And she takes out the hereditary chart and she rolls it out across the table with all these extra pieces of paper tacked onto it. and highlighted in iridescent ink is Perdita's name and Roz's name beneath her. I have wanted nothing more, and I must confess, when at first you tossed this aside, I took great insult. It hurt me so. But I know now I have never asked, Perdita, what have you lived your life for? What direction have you pointed your tail in? I have been somewhat selfish in my goals, and I would have you tell me now, what do you want, Perdita?
Rose, I went to the ship as a child from a family that wanted me to have a good start and a skill. We were happy and our lives were rich. Our purses were not. And so I did that, and I learned the skill on shipboard, and I learned the skill in the kitchen, and I went with the chef to the town, and I worked in the tavern and the inn, and made friends and learned to see what was going on and what happened, and paid attention so that I was safe, a young tabaxi abroad in a human world. And then one day, Elster came into my life, a human, yes, but a fine man and an honorable man and strong. And I was able to help him. And he took that help from me and he appreciated it. Even though I was not a human, he showed me kindness and he smiled at me. And he gave me an opportunity, Roz, to be of value to someone and to Bedegar. I went on many trips and errands. I did much for Elster and his family, as far as finding the secrets and finding the information and supporting the family. That way, I could never have had Elster, even had he lived. But now I feel that if I can be with Edmund, and I can help him when he gets back to the throne, I will be doing that for the man that I loved. And that is my passion, love. And so for you, I would ask you, as my cousin, as my honorable cousin, and were I to take this honor you are trying to bestow on me, you would be my first lieutenant. And now, first lieutenant, I'm asking you to take my place and set me free to care for the human family that I love and I wish to serve. Can you understand that?
Oh, Perdita, you have given me such a gift. I could never hope to repay.
Oh, but you have given me one too, because now I know where I came from and what I am a part of, and I have a family here. So you have given me much, and I'm deeply grateful. We're cousins, Roz.
No, Perdita. We are sisters. Roz takes the turkey leg and tears off all of the added sort of sticky note extensions on the hereditary chart that contains the line of Cambria. And she wraps it around the turkey leg and she throws it to Garx Brooks.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I was going to ask if you were going to eat that. I know you got kind of distracted and I could see it getting cold.
You know, Raz, right now I would hug you because I'm so very happy that we have settled this. But you've been a little bit close to your yellow bottles, and I don't really want to. Girl, you need to clean yourself. She slaps Raz on the back, and she gets up to go.
When she slaps Roz on the back, a bunch of crumbs of cheese fall off of her chest onto the tabletop, and she begins to spear them with her claw. And yes, Perdita. I am so grateful for her talk.
I am too, Roz. Now let's go.
I love you.
Oh, Roz, do you know? No one has ever told me that before. Roz, you drive me crazy, but I love you too.
It is my goal in life, and I am glad to have a chance to fulfill it.
And Roz, you go to spear one last crumb of cheese, and you find it. You've been a moment distracted. A long purple tongue has sort of snaked out of the chair at the end of the table and swiped your crumbs of cheese right out from under your fingers. You got a good 3 or 4 of them in, but the rest have been sort of.
And Perdita looks over her shoulder at Garx and says, Garx, how long would it take you to transform into a catapult?
A catapult?
Yes.
How big of a catapult?
Big enough to bash down the door of the house where the Lord Saxton lives in Bedegar.
I think a pretty good while.
Oh, well.
I mean, those things are like real
thought.
big, right?
Yeah, it was just a thought. She picks up the rest of the turkey that was sitting on the plate that went with the thing, and she tosses it to Garx.
This is the best day of my fucking life. Okay. So yeah, we sort of move on from Roz and Perdita. Is there anyone else that has any scenes or conversations that they would like to have with anyone else in the castle?
Roz would like to approach Anna and Shanty. Please excuse me, I have something in my eye.
Yeah, and as Roz approaches, where do we find Anna and Shanty? If apparently we find them in the same place at the same time. So what would they be doing that they'd be in the same place at the same time?
I don't know. Maybe in the courtyard, right?
Yes.
Sure. Just hanging out, enjoying some sun, maybe.
Anna was picking flowers, and Shanty decided to join her.
And Shanty's probably just, idly growing some little mushrooms, just not really paying attention, just enjoying being outside.
Yeah.
Roz kind of stomps blindly up to the two of them, kicks a little bit of dirt onto one of the flowers, and accidentally stomps on a mushroom.
I had a question. Perhaps the two of you could assist with educating me on the nature of death.
Sure, Roz. What all do you want to know?
I have noticed that both of you have your own special connection to this final moment of the living.
And Roz strokes her whiskers, and there's 3 on either side of her cheeks. And you see little points where she's missing 4 of them.
As Whiskers, we are born with 10 whiskers and 9 lives. And upon losing one, we pluck one of our whiskers in ceremony, so that only the grandest among us have a fine single whisker at the end of our lives. The women in my family have fantastic mustaches. But I noticed this is not the same with all living creatures. A shame, truly.
She then sort of lowers her paw to her collar where she sort of strokes a line of tabaxi fangs, which are strung around a necklace.
My fallen family were quite dear to me, and I had wondered if perhaps between the two of you, I may have a chance to thank them for their lives and offer my condolences.
Sounds
You
like you have a
wish-
special connection to death as well.
Yes, I have died several times.
How does that feel?
Like pins and needles all across your fur, like an icy wind has gripped you, and you will never feel warmth again. But then, deep within you, like a fuzzy ball of yarn, a light emerges, and you are made whole again.
Wow.
I
That's
do
beautiful.
hope one day to lie down on my deathbed and to pluck my final whisker. But that day, I hope, is long from now. Enna, I witnessed as you spoke with the dead. Is it possible, with only such remains,
And she tickles her necklace again.
that I might say goodbye?
I see. Okay, question. Can I speak to the dead with just like remnants, or does it have to be? I can't remember. Does it just
I
have
think
to be
it has
like the
to
body?
be their physical body. I think because it has to have a mouth and the ability to speak. if I'm
Okay,
not
that's what I
mistaken.
thought.
I'll double check it real quick. Yeah, you grant the semblance of life and intelligence to a corpse within your range. So, but still have a mouth and can't be undead.
Okay. Let me see in my spells.
Enchanty, I witnessed as you brought the dead back to life. In a way of speaking, they were delayed their passage. Do you believe that you could bring back what may remain of the essence of their souls?
Roz, I want to be able to tell you yes. Are you speaking just about your family here?
And she nods. She nods as she, continues to sort of tickle the necklace.
I would love to be able to tell you yes. But I tend to work with people, creatures that are more recently deceased, unfortunately. But I firmly believe, and I can't speak for Enna, that their souls are still here in a matter of speaking. If there's a way you wanted to maybe talk to them together or talk to them on your own. I don't know how Tabaxi feel about these things.
Thank you for your kindness and your honesty. Perhaps what I'm really asking for is someone to listen and perhaps to pray with me. Would you both?
And she holds out her paws to both of you.
Enna takes a paw.
And Shanty takes a paw and then takes Enna's hand.
We must honor the fallen, for they have given many lives, each more precious than the last. They fought to defend us, the living, and so we must make their sacrifice worthy. This I swear to endeavor to do with every life that I have left to give.
And she squeezes both of your hands.
So I wish to contact those who are close to you. I can feel them nearby. I wish I could do more for you, my friend.
Your presence and your companionship are more than enough. Thank you, Anna.
And Shanty will kind of lean down and pick up just a handful of soil and grow a really pretty mushroom out of it that kind of matches the color on Ross's collar and hand it to her. Just a little pile of dirt with a mushroom growing out of it.
I will keep it in the dark and feed it shit.
It's always what I want to hear, friend. And Shanty will like clap a hand on her shoulder.
Thank you, Shanty. This brings some peace to my heart. Thank you both.
And she turns to walk away, accidentally kicks another mushroom, stomps on a flower, and retreats back into the decaying Castle Rand.
And as Roz enters Castle Rand, I think we see Silas coming out into the courtyard. And Silas, as you, what are you sort of headed to go do when you are interrupted?
Probably just doing his regular patrols, kind of like making sure everybody's doing okay. His daily, what's the news? What have we seen? Let's get busy kind of stuff.
Yeah. So you make your way out into the courtyard and are sort of looking around as you do, kind of examining and overseeing things. When you see you see an individual, middle-aged human man, sort of in the courtyard, glances around and then looks at you and sort of catches your eye really specifically, and then just kind of like yawns and like tilts his head and kind of points his arm a little bit over towards a nearby stables. You sort of get the sense he is indicating you should meet him there.
Okay. Can I get an insight check on how sketchy this guy is?
No insight check needed. This is one of your spies. You recognize him. He works for Two-Buckle, or Zola Honeycutt is the leader of the clock. So he's another member of the clock. Corin, or as he's known, Swiftblade. And he is sort of, that's like a signal that you guys have kind of worked out in the past.
Okay. I'll make my way over there.
Yeah. And so he sort of meets you over there and says, hello, my lord. I have some information for you.
Right.
There is a contact of mine embedded in the court of Lord Saxton, the usurper. He tells me that one of your lower officers, Alice Weimar, is possibly a secret agent for Saxton.
How possibly?
That is the information he gave me. It would behoove to investigate, but I have no reason to distrust.
Okay, so do I know this name?
Yeah, Alice Weimar, she's not at like the highest levels, right? So like you guys' immediate lieutenants are people like Two Buckle, people like Gear and
Oren
Oren
Orenson.
Orenson and Gear Brennison. Those are kind of like your, and the Treant, who's not really a lieutenant, but at least kind of around. People like that are like your main level guys. This is like one level below that, like one of their sort of
And who is she?
helpers.
Was it a he or she? Or
She, Alice
in between?
Weimark.
Alice Weimar. Okay.
Yeah.
And who is she directly under?
She is directly under Gear.
Okay.
Who is the half orc, Oren's much younger half brother,
Right.
one of the officers from Territon.
Right. I ask, does Gear know this information?
I do not believe he does. I came straight to you.
Do we know what she is led on about us?
As far as I understand, she is merely passing information, but information is very powerful.
Yeah. Okay.
If you, obviously you will do what makes sense to you, but it is my opinion that punishing her swiftly and publicly would prevent further harm to your organization and send a warning to other spies.
Or we won't let on anything just yet. I want to talk to the group. For now, I want her moved over into Oren's Rangers. That way, any information she gets is terrible.
Hey, look here. Over the ridge, that's where you gotta go. That's where the wolves are.
Yes, this is not a bad idea. If you do not think that public punishment is the route you want to go, we could feed her false information. Of course, the risk is that if she finds out, she could escape, or if she knows her cover is blown, engage in sabotage. But of course,
The point
my
of
lord
this
should do
rebellion
as you.
is to prove that we aren't Saxton. I agree that we can't allow her to do this willy-nilly, but I will talk to the group and see what needs to be done. Punishment may come, but I won't flay her in the streets to prove a point.
Terrible shame. I kid. You will do as you see fit. And he sort of nods his head.
I do slip him 5 gold just as like a bonus, and say, this is good work. Make sure she is Oren's personal assistant.
Yes, I will let them know. And he sort of takes one of the coins and kind of bites it, and as he sort of like walks out of the area, he sort of like flips the coin and drops flips one of the coins and drops it into his purse, and heads off to go deliver those orders. What would you like to do?
Okay. I'm going to think about that. I'm going to make sure that information stays really close to the chest for now. In between that time, I think I'd like to try to catch Enna we basically have like a mess hall, don't we? I mean, we have our table, but we also have a mess hall kind of where like more people eat.
Yeah, there would be some sort of place. So, the original castle didn't really have a room like that, but you guys it spent part of the winter, and much of that time was spent having folks come in and do repairs and things like that. I would think by now there's, you probably don't have a formal barracks erected yet, but I think some more of the trees around Castle Wren have been cleared, and there's like a small tent city developing of, soldiers and workers in the castle and things like that. So I would think one of those is like a big mess tent where communal meals are served. Yeah.
I'm going to find a time when Twilight is there.
Okay.
And Enna's sitting eating lunch, and just kind of like sit and then kind of start scooching next to Enna.
Okay.
Enna is she's eating soup. She's eating her soup, and she just like side-eye Stylus I was like,
and Silas looks to her and then looks to Twilight and then looks to Enna and then looks to Twilight and just be like, and he's just gonna say, so have you asked her out yet?
And I get so flustered, and then I was like, what? And like flushes red, and is like so embarrassed.
And then
And
he's
she
gonna look
just-
at Twilight and make sure she's not paying attention and just say, if you want me to be your wingman, I could totally help out.
As you look over, you see that Twilight is eating a simple meal of like curds and whey and like a little toasted bread with honey on it.
Oh.
So like got like a spoon, just like. Oh.
And he tells Enna, he goes, I heard through the grapevine that she's been asking about you, and I'm not trying to say anything. I just, Soren was my wingman.
Literally.
I mostly just asked him a question around a girl I was interested in about religion, and he just kept droning on about whatever gods, and I looked more interesting by comparison. But we could try something different if you think that wouldn't work.
I don't know. That's a lot. That's just, I don't know. I don't like her. That's
Well,
dumb.
She asked me to give you this, and I pull out a little note and I hand it to Enna. And I just kind of clap her on the shoulder and say good luck and walk out the door.
Hey, what are you guys talking about?
And
Nothing. Just
when
the
she
soup.
opens the note, it says, "Meet me tonight under the full moon, Twilight."
Uh-oh.
I'm going into the Twilight Zone, literally.
Okay.
Yo.
Inspiration
And
for
then-
that
and
joke.
then- and then-
Inspiration
hold on,
for that
one
joke,
last-
for sure.
Yeah. One last thing. I kind of like peek, wait for Enna to leave, and go up to Twilight and say, "Hey, this was for you," and give her a note that says, "Meet me under the full moon."
No.
Enna.
Oh no.
And then I just kind of clap her on the shoulder and I leave.
Wow.
Orin bumps into Silas with his hands in one of the shredded pockets in his decaying coat, and he pulls out a red berry and he pops in his mouth, and the juice pops all over his chin and runs down his greasy beard.
Don't think I'm not watching you.
How do you like your new assistant, Orin?
Well, I never let a woman touch my feet, ever. It's bad luck, but there's something about her. I'm going to figure it out, whether it takes me 3 days of not eating, or not sleeping, or drinking so much water I throw up. I'm going to figure it out.
Well, just make sure that, she's the only one touching your feet, okay?
Yes, my lord. Yeah.
And he pops another berry and he wanders off.
I think Silas is good for the day. I think that's, yeah.
What are those berries?
Yeah. Orin really has BDE over there, by which I mean Big Denethor Energy.
Uncalled for.
Listen, I thought of that joke immediately and was so proud of it I couldn't not say it, okay?
It was very good.
Tomato is a fruit.
Still waiting for my apology money.
Okay, so that is all that Silas has. You've been tipped off to a possible spy. We've had several other sort of RP scenes here. Unless anybody has anything else, I actually don't have anything else, unless you guys want to just talk about like what you plan to do next, but you also can wait till you have Solomon to do that, and we can just kind of call it a little early tonight. unless anyone has anything else they want to do sort of the space. We're kind of like stuck until we get Solomon back, basically. So if there's any other development stuff we can do.
Solomon to come back to talk about the spy. So maybe we can tackle that first thing next session.
Okay. And then you don't have to have an answer to this right away, but does Anna wade in the moonlight?
Yeah, she does.
Okay. Well, fascinating. So as night falls on the castle, we see two figures from different directions sort of heading off to the prescribed meeting place. And I think that is actually where we're going to call our session today on a cliffhanger. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, that's good.
More like Twilight.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Okay. All right, folks. Well, thank you so much. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Shout out to Daniel, who couldn't make it tonight. Hopefully, we'll be back next session. We will resume with that scene and then figuring out what you guys want to do. We also probably, I will say, will want to resolve the spy question, or at least get some solid decisions made about that before we, you're not going to, I'll just say, you're not going to want to let that ride. You'll want to either decide to start fasting information or, punish or whatever else you want to do before you go off and do some shit, because God knows what she'll do in your absence, right? Now that it's been brought to your attention. So we will jump into that next session, which theoretically should be the 10th, I believe, of March, unless anybody has issues with that. So yeah, thank you, folks. We are going to find somebody to raid, but in the meantime, we'll do our usual sign off here. So if you would please sort of remind everybody who you are, where you can be found on the internet, and who you played tonight, starting with Bonus Mom.
Hey kiddos, I am Bonus Mom, and I was blessed to actually begin my singing career tonight as Perdita, the Tabaxi cat person. This may be one of, and probably is, and has been one of the shortest musical careers in the history of the world. I don't even have one hit wonder. I have one Miss Wonder. But other than that, I hang out on Twitch and TikTok, and I'm Bonus Mom 7, and I have a podcast, and I am Bonus Mom 70 everywhere that you look. And thank you for letting me be here tonight. Y'all take care and love each other.
Excellent. Kyla.
Hi, pals. I'm Kyla. Tonight I've been playing Shanty, and I can be found at Kai2D2 most places on the internet. So come along and find me there, I guess, if you want to. Take care.
Excellent. Taylor.
Hey, friends, I'm Taylor. I play Enna, the love-stricken, what else, lyric. And, yeah, it was so fun tonight. It's good to be back again. I missed it last time, but I'm here now.
Hooray! Jesse.
Hey, I'm Jesse. You can find me on the internet at SpectroSofa. We haven't uploaded in a while, but more stuff coming soon. But very special announcement. I personally am actually starting a new YouTube channel called You Might Be a D&D, where I do short, snarky guides about certain things. With my inaugural video, which I actually just posted tonight, You Might Be a Blade Singer. Awesome. It's I promise you it is the best D&D content based on a 30-year-old Jeff Foxworthy joke you'll ever see. So You Might Be a Blade Singer. I'll actually post it right now in the chat. And come subscribe and everything. I worked really hard on it, and I'm super proud of this video. So please just watch. It's only like 6 minutes. So awesome. Thanks very much. We'll see you next week or in 2 weeks, whatever.
Right on. That's very cool. I'll definitely check that out. And Beast.
Hey everyone, I'm Beast. I played Hiskers, the Tabaxi Valor Bard. We learned a little bit about life, death, love, and sisterhood tonight. And I just wanted to say thank you for sharing that moment with us. It was really beautiful. Mm-hmm. And we hope to see you again, or we hope you hear us again in 2 weeks.
Awesome. And as always, I am Pixel. Tonight I have been your beautiful elk man riddle speaker and your chair that eats turkey legs and cheese crumbs. So I hope you all have enjoyed the show tonight. A bit of a different episode with due to the sort of, personnel constraints and just where we're at in the adventure. But hopefully that was all great. Next week, we'll be back with the next episode of Curse of Strahd. Wherein our heroes have solved the problem in the winery and will be dealing with the fallout of that, figuring out their next moves. And Tuesday, the 28th, 4 days from now, some of the folks on screen here and myself, and then some other folks who are not on screen, will be doing a tutorial about Stars Without Number, which we discussed at the top of the show, wherein I teach folks how to make characters in that system. It's a sci-fi system, somewhat akin to D&D, and so I'm really hoping that we'll get some folks interested in learning how to make characters, and then I may run some one-shots over in our Discord server. The link to that is in our in chat, and is also can be found on our link tree, which will be in the YouTube description or the podcast description, whichever way you are listening to this, if in fact you are listening to it. And then you can also find me at twitch.tv/hammerandpixel, where I stream video games and talk about all kinds of stuff. And we are currently wrapping up Breath of the Wild, and then we'll shortly, I think, be jumping into Legend of Dragoon. So that should be fun. We also may be resuming our Tarnished Tuesdays streams with Ream streams. I don't know if it'll be Tuesday, but we're doing Elden Ring once they sort of finish some of the games that they're playing. So that's sort of in the pipeline. So that is everything I have. Does anybody have anyone they know that they would like to raid? Someone we know or we've raided before, Slices and Dices, just went live with Star Wars 5e, which is a Star Wars-based hack of 5th edition D&D, which is really cool. Unless somebody knows anybody else who's live that you guys want to go check out.
Yeah, and we have a few folks that play Star Wars 5e at the Bonus Mom Tavern Discord.
Yeah. That's another system that I'd love to try. Although, obviously I went with Stars Without Number just because I had the book already. So, but, cool. Alrighty, friends. Well, that is everything for our episode today. We're going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you guys so much for being here. And as always, until the next time I see you, be nice to yourself. What are you doing? Don't be mean to yourself. Be nice to you. Mm-hmm. Do it. Cool. All right. Peace, everybody. Thanks. Let me tell a tale of a world where heroes walk among us, fighting through the darkness left by monsters and by selfish men. A tale of glory rents asunder, sacrifice and battles lost. Our heroes know not what awaits them, and still they carry on. Let me sing a song of a family forged by trials and woe. On their own they falter, but together they will write their own tale of glory, rents asunder, sacrifice and battles lost. Our heroes know not what awaits them, and still